Hey, what is going on YouTube? It's GeneralTarheel, your coach to Charlotte Charizards, bringing you the SDL Season 6 Week 3 battle versus Coach Cell and the Winchester Whimsicotts. Coming into Week 3, we did get up a nice win last week against Kurt and the Adelaide Absols. Make sure to check that out if you haven't. We absolutely walled with Leech Seed, Protect, Substitute, Celesteela. It was a little unfortunate for Kurt, but it was still a great game. Now, coming into Week 3, Cell did take over a team for us, returning to the SDL, which is great. Glad to have him back. But he's going to be a little rusty. He hasn't played Bonds in about 5 months. And there's some stuff in Gen 7 that he's not well known to, mainly the Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon stuff and whatnot. But he took over a roster. He had to make a few FAs, but he made it pretty scary. And it's definitely interesting. So I'm going to throw up his roster on the screen right now. As you see, he does have the Speed Boost, Blaziken, Tapu Koko, Mega Venusaur, Latias, Empoleon, Staraptor, Umbreon, Exploud, and Mudsdale. His users being Koko, Latias, and Exploud, I believe. His team is pretty scary. Speed Boost Blaziken does put in a lot of work, considering it can be Adamant or Naughty, depending on whether or not it wants to run a special move for Mix, like say HP Ice for my Garchomp or something. So it can put in a lot of investment into its attack because it is getting these speed boosts to where it just protects and then it's just going to be out speeding you anyways. So it's really a very good sweeper. It's very similar to how I used Mega Blaziken in APA Showdown for Season 7. It was a very strong mon. Not as strong with a 160 attack, of course, but it's still something we gotta watch out for. Koko, one of the best Pokemon in Draft League format. Definitely the best Electro type in my opinion. Amazing pivot, electric terrain and whatnot. Always a threat. Mega Venusaur is an absolute wall, and the fact he can pair it with Empoleon and Umbreon, that is a filthy core. I do have Hawlucha that can actually tear apart this core, but it's still very scary to face. Latias, great Pokemon, 110 speed tier, of course. Psychic Dragon's always strong. Very threatening Calm Mind Pokemon. Can also run like Trick Scarf and whatnot, so we always have to watch out for that. Staraptor, very, very hard-hitting Pokemon with, Reckless, Brave Bird, and whatnot, as well as Double Edge, even though majority of the time I would just click Brave Bird. Also gets access to close combat for the Rock and Steel types that it might have to go up against, and it also gets U-turn just being an amazing pivot Pokemon, whether that be Choice Band or Choice Scarf. And then Exploud, this thing is another wall breaker to go along with Staraptor, but on the special side, Choice Specs Boomburst does damage, definitely forcing me to bring Celesteela so I don't have to sack a Pokemon every single time. And then next up is, lastly, is Mudsdale. Pretty solid ground type, honestly. Got a few buffs with Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon getting Stealth Rocks and whatnot, but it was still a solid mon beforehand. It eats a lot of hits, of course, with its stamina, boosting its defense whenever it gets hit. And it's a very solid, Assault Vest user. You can run Rest, so if they don't have a solid special offensive Pokemon, then Mudsdale's just gonna eat it up, and then they won't be able to break through the defensive boost that it's getting, and then it's also a decent Choice Band user. So when I was building for this, like I mentioned, Hawlucha absolutely tears up his team. So I do have Hawlucha here, Adamant Lucha, of course, with just enough speed and bulk. I have the Psychic Seed, of course, with Swords Dance, Drain Punch, Acrobatics, and High Jump Kick. Now, originally I did have Poison Jab, but then I found out Cell built with Loris, and Loris, when I saw Cell make these transactions, I told Loris this is Hawlucha food, and he's like, you can just run a Kebuberry Koko, and then he doesn't have to worry about it. And then when he said he was building with him, I knew for a fact it was going to be a slightly bulky Koko with Kebuberry, so I wasn't bringing Poison Jab. I was just going to focus on trying to bait out the Koko and then weaken it with a few things, and then I can just High Jump Kick Sweep and whatnot, because if he's holding the Kebia, then High Jump Kick is going to be doing more than Poison Jab at that point. So next up we have Lele. This is a 3 attacks Calm Mind Lele with Expert Belt. It had Moonblast, Psychic, Moonblast, Psychic, and Thunderbolt with Calm Mind. Thunderbolt did 2-shot Empoleon if he wasn't leftovers. If he was leftovers, it was a roll. It just absolutely just breaks apart his team. He doesn't have any counters, really. So Lele was definitely going to be putting in work this game. It's just I had to be able to 2-shot the Empoleon, which was my main priority. Next up is Alolan Marowak. Actually had a pretty good matchup versus team. It was tear apart his defensive core, I was hoping. I had Stealth Rocks, Flame Charge, Flare Blitz, and Shadow Bone with a thick club. I was Lightning Rod, however, to be a direct counter to Koko. Majority of the time you do run Fire Punch with the Lightning Rod set, but I did want to bring Flare Blitz just to get a lot harder hits off on the Mega Venusaur and Empoleon, and stuff like that. Make sure I can two-shot all of them, which is very important. Alolan Marowak really just tore apart his team. Even though I did have Flame Charge, it didn't really outspeed too many things after +1 still. So it was just more so in case it was a lot of his Fabmons that I want to be able to outspeed and they can't just like heal up versus me constantly, you know. Next up is Garchomp. I was considering Scarf Chomp, but it just can't do anything to Mega Venusaur. So Scarf Chomp would have helped me versus Coco and Blaziken as well as Lottie. So it was definitely like an interesting option, but I decided to bring SD. I had Swords Dance with Ground Z. I had Earthquake, Dragon Claw, and Aqua Tail. +2 Aqua Tail did knock out Mudsdale if he was not defense invested. If he was just HP. And then, you know, Ground Z, +2 Ground Z knocks out defensive Umbreon as well as most variations of Mega Venusaur. Or decent, defensively bulky Mega Venusaur. Not max, but most of them, like if he was mixed. And it could just do work. I mean, he can easily revenge it. I live any hit from Coco, considering I know he's not going to be Specs, because Specs Dazzling Gleam is the only thing that can KO Garchomp. And then Lottie will obviously always be a threat, but if I can bluff the Scarf very well, then it's not too much of a threat. And then next up is Mega Alakazam. This was, of course, Magikarp before Mega Evolution, and then into Trace. It has Substitute, Disable, Focus Blast, and Psyshock. This basically allowed me to, or maybe it was Psychic again over Psyshock, I keep forgetting. It was basically if the Umbreon was the counter to Zam, I just sub up, I disable its either Foul Play or Pursuit, because there was a chance he was going to have Pursuit for Mega Zam, just to troll it. The main counter to Mega Zam is always Dark Pursuiters, so. And then, so either way, I can disable a lot of things that my opponent might want to go for versus me. I also get to sub up on Blaziken and get its speed boost if he does try to protect on speed boost, similar to when I had this set versus Scolipede. Basically, Psyshock and Focus Blast just allowed me to hit everything on his team except Latios. And I really wasn't expecting Latios, to be completely honest, based off of its matchup, but he decided to bring it. And then lastly, Celesteela. I didn't know what to throw for 6 months, so I just put this on here. We had Wakanberry, a set with like investment everywhere. It had Leech Seed, Protect, Acrobatics, and Earthquake. This was just basically to throw random damage at his team if I could. Nothing more, nothing less. Acrobatics did two-shot most variations of defensive Mega Venusaur. Once I lost my Wakanberry, of course. And I was hoping to cheese the Coco with an Earthquake and whatnot. It wouldn't kill Coco. It would do around, if he did have some defensive investment, I wouldn't expect it to do more than 75, but it was going to do a decent amount to him either way. Enough for Hallelujah to sweep. So I will hide the roster, and as we are kicking off the beginning of the battle, I did opt to lead my Alolan Marowak. I felt like it could counter majority of his leads. The only thing that really put me in a bad situation was Exploud. I lived any hit from Lottie. Blaziken's not knocking me out with Earthquake without being +2. Mega Venusaur's not going to be doing much, and if it's not Mega yet, then Flare Blitz is going to absolutely destroy it. Empoleon, I would get plenty of chip off on, but I can also switch out if I wanted to. But if he did lead Exploud, I did have to just go into my Celesteela, which I felt like wasn't going to be a problem, so Marowak was my best lead for sure. He decides to go Latios. I'm just going to go ahead and get off a Shadow Bone here, just in case he did try to go for attacking move, because Latios, if it was gone, then my Zam could put in a lot of work. I'm just going to Flare Blitz. I was hoping I was going to be faster, but I just remember I did not have my Alolan Marowak to be faster. That's why I'm packing the Flame Charge. We did get an unfortunate crit there, which kind of sucks, but we do get a Shadow Bone here. I'm hoping for the defense drop, really, but either way, it'd be helpful. He does knock off getting rid of the Thick Club, which really sucks, but he's in range of Flare Blitz either way. And since this Empoleon is not leftovers, we do two-shot with Flare Blitz. And I do protect him switching out correctly, so I get off another Flame Charge, and then I'm just going to click it again versus Venusaur, because there's no reason not to. And he's going to go into Empoleon here, and instead of getting on my Stealth Rocks, I'm just going to go for the hard Flare Blitz, because I felt like it definitely did its job. He has no walls now, basically. And I'm going to go into Garchomp here, and I made a really ballsy play, as you can tell. Cell was rusty, you know, he hasn't been here for 5 months, but any man with a brain is going to predict this being Scarf Chomp. So, I predicted him going to the Lottie here, and I clicked Dragon Claw, because I lived any hit from Coco either way. I'm just going to reason with this more, because Cell was really mad I made this play. But, So if I click Dragon Claw and he's staying with Coco, I lived any hit. Like, I knew this for a fact. And all I needed Garchomp for at this point was to be able to use my Ground Z on the X-Ball to get a for sure one-shot. That's all I needed Garchomp for. Otherwise, I'm just bluffing Scarf and putting in as much damage as I can with Garchomp. So as I go for the Dragon Claw, I do want to switch out here in case he decides to sack his Lottie and whatnot. And then I can get this Calm Mind up versus his Lottie because he did recover. Unfortunately for him, he misses T-Wave. That was probably his best option just because it allowed X-Cloud to destroy it. But right here, I die to Flare Blitz no matter what, so I'm going to into my Garchomp. And right here, he protects twice. This should allow him to outspeed a Scarf Garchomp if he did invest correctly. But Cell did not invest his Blaziken to where it could outspeed Scarf Garchomp, which isn't just good prep on his part, which is kind of unfortunate. So he did have to try and get a double protect, which really sucked. So I just click Earthquake once again. Blaziken also didn't one-shot me a Lotus that had HP Ice, and he was thinking I was Scarf, so that's why he just goes into Explode, and then I use the Ground Z, destroy Explode, and then right here, even if he had Dazzling, like I mentioned, not going to KO me, so I just go for the Earthquake once again, and we knock out Coco. Garchomp did very well that game, picking up 3 kills to clean up. I did very nice bluffing the Scarf. Alolan Marowak did an amazing job, actually. Destroying his only defensive mons, which is pretty nice. There was a chance Lottie was pretty bulky, but in order to also be a counter to Hawlucha. But either way, just broke apart his team, which is very nice. It was unfortunate that he missed that T-Wave with Lottie on Lele, but yeah. At the same time, I don't know if I would have stayed in. That was a really bulky Lottie though, considering my Lele did outspeed. But it was a GG to Cell nonetheless, so we are 3-0 with a +12 differential right now, which is very nice. Hoping to continue it for the weeks to come. Next week we do face a Zach T for new coach. I don't remember his team name, but look forward to that, as well as looking forward to my APA draft analysis video, which should be going up tomorrow. But that'll be from me today. So make sure to sub, like, share, deuces.